evening, we bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite sports icons and athletes. I'm Boom Gonzalez, and tonight we will talk about some exciting storylines in the UAAP volleyball and the final day of the NBA play-ins.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Well, we are down to the final day of the NBA play-ins tomorrow, and 4 teams have one shot to keep their seasons alive. Join us tonight to talk about the exciting games is NBA Philippines All-Star Analyst Coach Willie Wilson. Coach, I know you're really excited to make your debut as a volleyball analyst, but let's focus on the NBA first. Let's talk about the Miami Heat and the Bulls first and foremost, because that is an interesting matchup. A lot of people on paper would say, like, hey, the Miami Heat are the Miami Heat. They should be getting one over the Chicago Bulls. But season record so far, the Bulls have swept their season series, and they look like they have had the Heat's number all year round. How do you look at this matchup?
Well, I look at it as they're playing in Miami. As you said, 4-0 throughout the season. Can they go 5-0? I mean, that's yet to be seen, but that series is for me trending in favor of the Miami Heat. Why? Again, I talk about they're playing at home, and are we going to see another dud by Jimmy Butler going 6 for 19?
Which is what he had in Atlanta, against Atlanta.
Against Atlanta. I doubt it, you know. And another question, can Kyle Lowry duplicate that shooting performance? I mean, maybe he's trending in the right direction. His first 30-point game as a Miami Heat. His last one was as a Raptor back in February 2021.
And, you know, the question also of whether Bam Adebayo will come up in tomorrow's game, because that's a big one. The Bulls, of course, coming off that comeback victory against the Toronto Raptors. They've been good, at least trending well since the All-Star. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
It was a comeback.
Number 2 in defensive ratings since the All-Star against Miami. That is 29th in three-point shooting after being number 1 last year. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But again, we're talking about the
one
Bulls.
Game.
The one game.
One
The Bulls. What type of team are they? Are they a running team? Are they a half-court team? That's still to be determined. I still haven't seen what their identity is.
Yeah, you know, you take a look at these two, and you also have to look at the fact that they are 2 teams in the top 10 in terms of defensive rating. I don't know if it's going to be a case of which defense is stronger or one holds over the other, but you take a look at the way that these 2 teams play and trying to contain each other. How do you see that part of the game playing out?
Well, when I'm looking at the Heat, why did they lose to the Hawks? They got out-rebounded, especially on the offensive end. Badly. Clint Capella was hitting the glass really hard. Again, Atlanta shoots a lot of threes, but the Bulls don't. Okay, and do the Bulls have an offensive rebounder to the you know, like Clint Capella? They don't. So again, that's another reason for me to throw this series in for the Heat.
Interesting. DeMar DeRozan, Jimmy Butler will be battling tomorrow. But the more interesting thing, I think, will be the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the OKC Thunder. A lot of people thought, OKC rebuilding again, tanking, whatever. And then all of a sudden, they're making this run. And probably are favored against Minnesota with all of the drama that's going because of how SGA has been playing all NBA team. I bet he's going to be this year. Your take, Coach Willie.
Okay, I like how you said that they could be favored, but I think there are some variables that we need to throw in. You talked about the drama with Gobert, Kyle Anderson, you know, the punch on the bench.
And then McDaniels.
And then McDaniels breaking his hand. So that those are players that McDaniels definitely out for the season. Gobert possibly will play. We've been seeing reports that his back is hurting. But in 2 games in the regular season, that Gobert did play, he averaged 15 and 15. The size of him and Karl Anthony Towns together is gonna give problems to the OKC Thunder. They just don't match up well with that size. Another thing is, can they control the tempo? You know, the OKC Thunder, they want to run. And we talk about the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and how he controls the game. Minnesota has Conley, and he's a vet. and he's been in a whole bunch of series, playoff series.
Yeah, and we all remember. We also saw what he did to LA to make it an overtime game last time.
Yeah, but that was a bonehead foul.
Speaking of LA!
Speaking of Los Angeles, by hook or by crook, the Lakers.
Whoa! You're making it sound like it's a fluke that they are where they are.
Okay, let's go to the series now. Series naman tayo, not the one-game thing.
All right.
The Grizzlies and the Lakers. They won the series about the Lakers against the Grizzlies 2-1. Lakers look a lot different right now with their lineup. The fact that LeBron's in the lineup and they're going up against a Memphis Grizzlies team that still has a lot to prove. You take a look at this matchup. I know you're going to be watching every second of this series. How do you like the Lakers' chances and are they actually the favorites here against the Grizzlies who are the number 2 seed?
I mean, I like to believe that they are. You know, as long as every game that is played, we get Shannon Sharp on the sideline, providing the drama from
So what?
that,
7 games nasa LA?
No, he could travel with the team.
Okay.
You know, he gets that pass. But no, I mean, when you look at the lineups. Okay, we have a full strength Lakers who, by the way, had the best record in the West once they acquired D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. You know, it's a reshaped roster, best record in the West since the roster has been shaped the way it is. Again, you talked about how they've won the series. All right, who guards LeBron? Brooks, I'm assuming, right? Can he guard him for an entire series? The problem for the Grizzlies has been fouling. They're a young, and I put a huge emphasis on young, energetic team, which means that they're going to foul a lot.
That's always been their problem in the playoffs.
Yes,
they have these fourth quarter meltdowns.
And the Lakers are the number 1 team in getting to the foul line.
Look at the passion, Coach Willie.
And the number 1 team in not fouling. So that means that they nullify the running game of the Grizzlies. They win the series.
You sold me the car. Don't worry. You sold me the car. We got to talk about the Clippers, the other LA team.
There. Do not say the name, just say the other LA team.
And the Suns, because that's going to be interesting. Paul George, you need a wing defender against D-Book and KD there, so that's going to be a problem for the Clippers, right? Which you enjoy, I'm sure.
I mean, okay, but again, I'm not gonna show any bias here. And immediately everybody's throwing it the Suns' way.
Okay.
You know, the KD, Booker, Chris Paul. But when you look at the formation of this Clippers lineup, all right, they have somebody to match up with KD, theoretically, with Kawhi, one of the historically best defenders in the league. Booker, they have a bunch of wings that they can throw at him. Bones Highland, Norman, Terrence Mann.
That's why I was hoping Paul George was there.
A whole bunch of guys that they can throw at him. And then does the X factor for me, the X factor matchup is CP3 versus Russell Westbrook.
So, in short, you're taking the Clippers in the series?
No, never.
Okay.
Never.
So that's an unbiased pick.
That's an unbiased pick.
I just had to ask the question in case people might get confused. Coach Willie, always a good time. Thank you very much for sharing your unbiased thoughts for our NBA play-in and playoffs.
Especially on the Clippers.
Yes.
After the break, we shift to volleyball as we break down the different possibilities and storylines happening in the UAAP Season 85 Women's Volleyball Tournament. Stay tuned. You're watching the game. Welcome back. You're still watching the game. The UAAP Women's Volleyball Tournament is filled with decorated players and budding talents that are starting to make waves game after game. And joining us to discuss the different storylines of the participating schools is UAAP analyst, our friend Neil Flores is back. Neil, welcome back to the show.
Always happy to be here.
We're happy that you're here to break down some of the personalities and the teams, of course, and we begin, let's say, with FEU. Technically, already a good comeback tournament as opposed to season 84. But let's talk about the F4, the Final Four, because that's what everybody's gunning for. Kaya pa ba ng FEU?
Okay, I'm gonna be real. Out of the 4 bottom teams right now in the UAAP, FEU has the closest chance of clinching that Final Four spot. But it does entail them to actually win 4 consecutive games. Woo! They cannot drop any game already, and they need to hope na yung nasa taas, yung nasa top 4 right now is to go further pababa para ma-level yung number 4 spot.
So we saw in the standings just a while ago that they are 2 games away from actually just evening it up in terms of making it to the Final Four. You take a look at the players that do need to step up here. We mentioned they're young. This is a rebuilding season in many ways para sa FEU. Who do you think needs to step up in particular for them to get where they want to be?
Well, aside from Chinita Gaod, kailangan mag-step up ni Ubaldo and ni Devosora. I mean, these 2 names have emerged as the most improved players. A lot of fresh talents also for the FEU Lady Tamaraws. A new coach as well. So they're one of the teams that have been rebuilding, hindi lang sila. But we can already see the vast improvement. They got a win against Ateneo in 5 sets in round 1. And they're looking to repeat that same performance in their next succeeding games. But again, it should be a team effort always. We've seen a lot of movements in possessions sa roster ng FEU. So hindi na pwedeng si Chinita Gaod lang ang mag-step up because that happened last season. It wasn't successful for FEU.
But great year still for Coach T. Ina Salak, of course, takes over FEU. Now, you did say they had the best chance of all the 4 teams in the bottom. And that's a strange thing to say when we're talking about the next school, which is Ateneo. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, season 73 pa yata, yung last time na hindi sila nakapag-Final Four. So, there's still an outside chance, although FE has a better chance. How does that happen for Ateneo?
It's going to be very difficult for the Blue Eagles because their last few matchups will be against the most of the top 4 teams right now.
With UST tomorrow?
With UST tomorrow. So if they lose one of those games, you can safely say na medyo malabo na silang makapasok sa Final Four. But again, their mantra is nothing is impossible. They will just try their best and take that 1 game at a time to enter that Final Four.
Well, for everything to be possible, they'll need to have help for Faith. Let's be completely fair in terms of the production of these Ateneo. Faith has been standing out in many ways, but who needs to be able to complement what she does?
For me, it's really Lian de Guzman and Vanny Gandler. We know that this season, Ateneo wasn't the best receiving team. Most of the time, default nila yung outside hitters and opposite spikers. So you need to be able to convert on these out-of-system plays. And compared to Faith Nesperos, medyo nag-take ng dip yung laro ni Vanny Gandler and Lian de Guzman. Although they bounced back in that game against UP, Lian had 8, Vanny had 9. But malayo yung nagiging separation with their scores kay Faith. Faith had 17. So in the next succeeding games, kailangan lahat sila nagdo-double digits.
She's been amazing, Faith. But yun nga, tama ka yung drop-off dun sa second and third score. Now, the last game they had was against UP. And they lost, talking about UP, which officially eliminated them from Final Four contention. So what are your general thoughts on their campaign this year with Coach Shaq taking over this long-term program that they're looking for?
And the very first step of UP, napansin ko, was their coaching staff. If you take a look at the bench of UP, you can really say na they are very serious in rebuilding their PT, their conditioning coaches, from the club teams, from the pros nila kinuha yun . So they're very serious in developing their current roster, but we do know that recruitment plays a big factor in the UAAP. So they have to add new talent to their current roster, but the potential is already there. They already have some pieces that will work for them, pero kailangan nilang magdagdag if they want to compete against the current Final Four in the UAAP.
So the question actually for UP and the UP fans is, are the players that they have right now the ones that you build around, or of course their recruitment development will be something to look out for? But in the interest of time, we have to move on to the other school we're going to talk about here in UE, who have not had the season that they wanted by any stretch of the imagination, to the point that we're asking if they are going to get a win this season. You take a look at all of that. You take a look at the chances that they have of actually ending the season with a 1 win. How is that looking?
Well, I do hope they get at least a win. You know, underdogs are always crucial in every competition, and they do have Bangayan and Cepada, 2 rookies that are standouts from UST, na ngayon sila na yung magdadala ng winning tradition, hopefully, for the Lady Red Warriors.
You know, it is important that you asked that question and we pointed that out because in the last 2-3 years, diba, yun ang nagiging topic. That one win, they've been able to get it last year. It was emotional 2 years ago. So we're hoping that UE gets to that point nga na medyo lumalaban.
Yes.
In like 2, 3, 4 wins, and we're hoping for the best for them. There's a lot of action still in the UAP with 4 more teams, Pao.
Absolutely, 4 more teams, and we're going to get to them after the break. Because we've got more UAP volleyball as we continue to talk about the collegiate stars carrying their schools to victory. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back. While the games are far from over, there are strong contenders already battling it out to get their teams into the postseason. Now, still with us to continue the conversation on our UAP storylines is UAP analyst, the real deal, Neil Flores. Neil, we take a look first at the De La Salle Lady Spikers, who, for those who don't remember, are coming off a loss to UST. When they beat FEU, and they barely did so, or at least it was a difficult game, they ended up training right after that. I could only imagine what the reaction would be internally after that loss to UST. How do they bounce back?
Well, bouncing back is one thing for De La Salle because right now, wala nang step ladder, so let's get that out of the picture. Teams are actually vying for that twice to beat. And La Salle, knowing Coach Ramil, classic yun eh. Even if they win some games, pero pag pangit yung nilalaro, they would go immediately to training. But now, I would say na it's okay to lose early on. They would rather lose in the eliminations compared to losing in the Final Four. So, important lang dito, makita nila yung mga skill categories na kailangan nilang improve coming into their next games.
All right, now Angel Canino and Julina De La Cruz, obviously both very important to to LaSalle. But who's going to be more crucial in in this finals run of theirs? The veteran who's not used to be a go-to player, or the rookie who is so used to being the go-to player, but still is a rookie?
I would say Julina De La Cruz.
Okay.
As a veteran, she's an all-around player. Hindi lang naman siya inaasahan in scoring because malaking contributions niya dun sa non-scoring skills. She's in the top 10 of the other non-scoring skills, so that will be a big boost to the De La Salle Lady Spikers. And for Angel Canino, she's been playing a stellar volleyball in her rookie year. So let her be a rookie kasi skills nandiyan na yan eh. Hindi niya na masyadong kailangan i-pressure sarili niya because she's used to these kinds of situations in the juniors division.
Yeah, and we all know it's also a different beast here in the seniors division. Interesting to see how she gains all that experience as well. Now moving on to Adamson. Itong Adamson, we mentioned a while ago how the teams below, especially in particular FEU, are trying to sneak into the Final Four. And Adamson is going to be one of those teams that want to secure their Final Four slot quickly as possible. Do you think that it's closer than the other schools in terms of locking in that position and keeping them safe?
I would say that Adamson is one of the dark horses for me to get that twice to beat advantage. When you take a look at their lineup, the skill set is there, pero there are teams na mas matatangkad, mas mabibilis. But again, the collective effort of Adamson Lady Falcons, especially on the defensive end, yun yung laging nagtuto sa kanila to victory. And we've seen that in the previous years of the UAAP until now, trademark pa rin nila yon. But now, they're injecting more fast-paced volleyball courtesy of Louis Romero.
Who is the heart and soul of this team.
Yes.
But the Jerry Yee thing and Trisha Tubu being part of this team this year, because they were short last year of that Final Four stint, is she the one who's going to put them over, you think?
Parang similar lang to kay Angel Canino.
Okay.
She's a rookie, let her be a rookie. It's really the veterans. For me, malaking factor yung outside hitters for Adamson because I feel like there are some games na dito sila naglalak in terms of production. The middles get their points but sometimes nabibitin dun sa left pin. So sila Almonte will actually need to play big in their succeeding games if they want to get that twice to beat.
We still have two more teams to go through. Let's start off here with the UST Golden Tigers. As you take a look at their talent level, it's incredible. They potentially have an MVP player in Ea Laure, part of this group. But then, of course, there's still relative inexperience when it comes to winning time for this team. Does the talent level, the raw talent level that you have, will that be able to carry them to where they want to go?
It should be enough. They beat NU, they ended their streak. They also beat LaSalle.
Yeah.
And I love the moniker of Ea Laure. Ea the Slayer. Slaying the winning streaks of the other teams. So I think that would really be enough. But again, hindi pwedeng mabitin sa dulo.
Right.
Because there are times na, for example, against NU, they won, but the following game, they lost.
Yes.
So they just have to not sensationalize these types of wins.
Which is against Adamson,
Yeah.
whom they lost to twice, by the way. Okay,
Exactly.
i-2-in-1 na natin ito, Nila, because Ea is always an MVP candidate. Did she take over the MVP conversation after the first round was all Angel Canino, and all of a sudden now, Ea the Slayer? And number 2, I guess we bring the conversation to NU. NU, I think, is a team that just needs a confidence booster game. Will a win against UST bring that to them?
Yeah, definitely. They started out with that straight set win against Adamson. I would say that was the best game NU played. And they managed to really use all of their players. Joyme Cagande, I would say, is one of the game changers for the Lady Bulldogs. We have to remember that she's a 3-time UAAP Juniors best setter, 4-time champion.
Correct.
So, ang ganda nung support niya kay Camila Lamina.
She was the setter of NU before her injury, before Lamina took over. But you have to answer the question about Ea.
Yeah.
We have to end with that, I guess.
Yeah.
Will she win? Does she have the edge in the MVP race?
That's a very difficult question, but pwede. Sige, pwede. I would say, with the performance she's been dishing out in the past few games, if she continues that in the next game, she can actually win that MVP award.
Top 10 in all scoring departments. Number 1 in scoring, 9 in serving, 7 in blocking, 2 in spiking. and also add on 5 in digging.
And
My
on
goodness.
her last year too.
In her last
yun
year.
pa yun eh, no?
Incredible.
That will be a cherry on top. But
Right.
again, championship would always be the goal for these teams.
Of course.
Neil,
So-
maraming salamat. Really appreciate all of that.
And
It's
UST
incredible.
UST, by the way, is back in action tomorrow against Ateneo. Thank you, Neil, and thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Happy weekend. I'm Boom Gonzalez.
I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.